Hello, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon, Arizona Mountain Standard Time, which is 12 p.m. Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. And I would like to thank my sponsor, which is betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. I will put it down in the comments. So BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. BetterHelp.com is an online counseling service. They hook you up with online counselors. So if you are in a rural area, you don't like the counselor you're with, you want to find another counselor, but you do not want to have to drive 100,000 million miles to get to one, get on to BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. Fill out the questionnaire. They'll put you with a counselor that is a master levels or above, PhD, and in your state, and they're licensed and all that sort of good stuff. If you are outside the U.S., they can put you with a counselor in the U.S. in one of those states that allows that. Arizona, unfortunately, does not. So anyway, so you can do that. And if you don't like the counselor, you just say, hey, don't like this counselor, put me with another one, fill out a couple of questions, and they'll put you with a different counselor. They're amazingly affordable, which I love. So like a package of 4 works out to like $65 a session. So that's super good. All right, thank you, BetterHelp.com. So there it is. All right, so on to the questions that I did not get a chance to answer on Sunday. So, question, my ex-husband is not involved in my daughter's life. She is starting to ask why. How can I explain the truth to her in a way that's not bashing him while remaining honest? Well, you just be honest. You know, this is not how a normal dad behaves, and your dad's got some issues. And it's not you. You're not the problem. You're not the reason he's not visiting. You're not the reason he's not. If this is something with him, it is not you. So you make sure to tell the kid it's not them in any way, shape, or form. That whatever the ex is doing, male or female, doesn't matter. Whatever they're doing, if they're not visiting, if they're not wanting to spend time, it's not because of the kid. It's because of them, because this is not normal. Healthy, normal parents want to spend time with their kids. Absolutely. So yeah, there's ways to do it without bashing. You just be honest, but make sure that the child understands it's not because of them. It's not because of something the child did or didn't do. Because remember, kids are very egocentric. Not egocentric like a narcissist, but egocentric as in, it must have been something I said. It must have been something I did. No, it was nothing you said. It was nothing you did. It was nothing you didn't say. It was nothing you didn't do. This is their issue. There's something not right with them, and that's their issue, not yours. It's not your fault. It's not your problem. You cannot fix them because you did not break them. This is something they're going to have to figure out. So, yeah, that's what you're going to want to do. Okay, so there is that. Whenever I start to unpack my past traumas, a voice inside me says, there's too much to process and too little time. I feel rushed and I try to take on too much in one go. So you've got to tell that voice to shut the bleep up. There is a lot to process, but how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You know, you don't take on the whole damn thing all at once. It's the same thing with, you know, any recovery of any kind. You know, it's like you don't take it all on all at once. You do one day at a time, one object at a time, one issue at a time, one event at a time. You don't take on the whole thing. And does it take time? Yeah, it does. Is there enough time to do it? Yeah, there is. So this whole thing about, oh, there's not enough time to do it. There's not enough time to process. There's too much. Wow, what a great excuse to not ever work on it. So that's the fear. It's the inner child going, no, 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 no. I don't want to deal with this. This is too scary. And you've got to comfort the inner child. There's plenty of time, kiddo. There's plenty of time. And we'll just take one issue at a time. And if that brings up other issues, we write them down, and then we will address those with our therapist. You know, it's like one issue at a time. Absolutely. So it's comforting yourself, and it's not allowing that fear to stop you from processing, because that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to keep you safe in a really maladaptive way. So yeah, you just want to be like tough but firm. Nope, we're not going to play that game. There's plenty of time. Yes, there's a lot of stuff, and we can do this, and we just do it one issue at a time. Yep, just like with anything else. And get with a good trauma therapist, because that's going to help you unpack it. So that's what trauma therapists are for. Okay, how do you know the difference between self-sabotage and just not hitting the mark? just not hitting the mark. You did everything you could. You did everything you could. You've literally done everything you could to get where you need to go. Just didn't happen. That happens. Self-sabotage, though, is where you coulda, shoulda, woulda, and you didn't, you couldn't, you wouldn't, and you intentionally did things that were going to stop you from getting to that place, you know? Like if you look back at something and you go, wow, I did this, I did this, I did this, and I did this. Didn't quite happen. Okay, what did I learn from it? Okay, well, this is what I'll do differently next time. If it's self-sabotage, it's, intentionally missing a really important meeting, intentionally oversleeping, intentionally, it's like you could have made the meeting, you could have gotten out of bed in time, and instead you just kept hitting that snooze button one too many times. Or, you did something intentionally that, completely stoppable, completely, avoidable. You did it, so that's self-sabotage. That's not missing the mark. That is self-sabotage. So yeah, that's the one. Is you did everything you could, just didn't quite make it. Okay, you gave it your best shot, didn't happen. All right, what can you do differently? Okay, do it differently. Self-sabotage is where it's like you just don't. It's like you don't set the alarm. You don't put the alarm on the other side of the room so that you have to get up out of bed. You intentionally miss a meeting. You intentionally leave out information. Intentional. It's all about the intention. So there is that. Okay. How do you know? Okay. Have you ever had an adult diagnosed as antisocial personality disorder later in life? Yeah, because they've never gotten a diagnosis before. So yeah, so here's the thing. So normally ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, is usually diagnosed with oppositional defiance disorder first. That's usually the way it goes. So it's like usually it's oppositional defiance disorder, and then eventually they get antisocial. In fact, let me grab the handy dandy DSM-5. But yeah, there have been a lot of instances where adults get diagnosed with antisocial, especially in domestic violence cases, because they probably have never had a diagnosis before. Because remember, narcissists, abusers, generally do not go get help because they don't want to. Oh, good Lord, I really need my glasses. What the heck is going on here? Hang on. 659. Okay, hang on. 659. It's in the DSM-5. 659. Okay. Oh, this book is falling apart. Okay. Antisocial personality disorder. A pervasive pattern of disregard for and violations of the rights of others occurring since the age of 15 is indicated by 3 or more of the following. Failure to conform to social norms and respect lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest, which is most domestic violence offenders. 2, deceitfulness as indicated by repeated lying, use of aliases, or conning others for personal profit or pleasure. 3, impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. 4, irritability, aggressiveness as indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. 5, reckless disregard for safety of self or others. 6, consistent irresponsibility as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations. So they're constantly screwing people. They'll run up debt and then run out on it and never pay it. 7, lack of remorse, as indicated by being indifferent to or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another. The individual is at least 18 years of age. There is evidence of conduct disorder, that's what it was, not oppositional defiance, conduct disorder, with onset before age of 15. The occurrence of antisocial behaviors not exclusively during the course of schizophrenia or bipolar. So conduct disorder, not oppositional defiance. Sorry, I got those two mixed up. So conduct disorder before the age of 15, meaning they're not listening to rules. They're not obeying the social norms, and that's the same thing with antisocial. Do some people get that diagnosis? Some offenders get that diagnosis later on in life? Yeah. They do, because they do not seek help. They're not going to run out and be like, gee, there's something wrong with me. I need to go get help and then get a diagnosis and figure out what's going on. They're into breaking the rules, breaking the law, that whole thing. They don't care about the rules. They don't care about the laws. So yeah, adults can get diagnosed later on in life with antisocial personality disorder, especially if there's a domestic violence charge, and they're court-ordered counseling. Yeah, there's a lot of, and then sometimes it's like parents don't want to face the fact that their kid has got a problem, especially if they're narcissists themselves or abusers themselves. And so they never take the kid to get diagnosed. They never take the kid to get help. They don't, and so there's no diagnosis. So yeah, absolutely. That can absolutely happen. Okay. Odd question. If your last friendship was toxic, how long till you should be trying to make new ones in a new environment? Okay, not an odd question. Totally valid question. So if we find ourselves in a toxic relationship of any kind, whether it is a friendship, a romance, a business, whatever, you have to ask yourself, why was I attracted to that person? What's going on? What was I trying to fix? What was, who did they remind me of? Who was I trying to fix? What was going on? And you want to work through that. It's like process that through to make sure that your picker is accurate and you're not just allowing your inner child to pick people that remind you of people from your past, trying to fix this original wound with somebody out over here. So you need to take some time and process, get with a good trauma therapist. Why were you in this friendship? Who did this friend remind you of? How did it end? What clued you into the fact that they were toxic? When did you finally have enough? How familiar was this? Why did you pick them in the first place? What's going on? And really process that through so it doesn't happen again. Make sure your picker is in working order. So it's kind of like maintenance on a car. You're not going to run out and drive the car if there's something really wrong with the car. So you're going to make sure that the car is working in working order and everything's going right and there's enough oil and there's enough fluids and there's enough air and there's enough everything else. And then you're going to go back out. So figure out what that was all about. What was going on? Why? What was happening? So yeah. Really need to get better reading glasses. Okay. I'm confused. I don't think my parents are narcissists. They certainly have traits. Why is my father always so dismissive and cruel? He always kills the joy. Well, without them in front of me, I can't tell you, hun. But being dismissive and cruel is not normal. That's all you need to know. You don't necessarily need a diagnosis. Like, if somebody is dismissive and cruel, then they're dismissive and cruel. And that's not normal. That is not the way a normal human being acts. Normal human beings are not snarky. They're not mean. They're not sarcastic. They're not passive aggressive. And they don't kill the joy in the room. They're not energy vampires. So, you don't need a diagnosis, but I would strongly encourage you to read The Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. And if those descriptions match what you're describing, then why are you making excuses for them? So that would be the question, if that is the case. But do read Object of My Affection is in My Reflection, Coping with a Narcissist by Raquel Lerner. It's also available on Audible. And if that matches up, then that's what you're dealing with. So dismissive and cruel is not normal. Dismissive and cruel is not normal. That is not how normal parents behave. That is not how normal human beings behave, or healthy human beings behave. It is so freaking dry. Oh my God. It is crazy go nuts hot. And crazy go nuts dry, and my eyes have been killing me, and ugh. I would like to go travel to the tropics again. That would be lovely. Okay. How can you reverse the alienator's brainwashing? How do people figure out they were lied to and manipulated? Contrast and compare. So, with kids, you just be consistent. You just be consistent. And eventually they'll be able to see, unless they have the personality disorder themselves, in which case they'll align themselves with the abuser. But if you're consistent and you're constantly, constant, like the Northern Star. Kids can see that, whereas abusers tend to be all over the place. They're not constant in anything except their abuse. So sometimes if there's no discussion of healthy versus unhealthy behavior, the kid will align themselves with the abuser and join the abuser in picking on the healthy parent. Why? Because the kids are trying to keep themselves safe. Oh my God, my eyes are itching. What the actual? So they're trying to align themselves to keep themselves safe. So you want to start as soon as possible, just like with the first question, pointing out healthy behavior versus unhealthy behavior. And being constant and being consistent. That is the best way you can do that. Kids tend to start figuring things out unless there's been no conversation whatsoever and they're aligning themselves with the abuser and or they've got a personality disorder themselves. So do people figure it out? Sometimes. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them cha-cha. That would be a good book for you to read. That's my book. That's right here. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them cha-cha. Why some people get out of abuse, why other people don't. Some people do figure it out. Some people don't. You know, it just depends on many things. It depends on how safe they are. It depends on if they're getting therapy. It depends on if they're working on their self-esteem. It depends on if they've found a good support group. You know, there's a whole bunch of X factors. So yeah. Okay. Why do many children of abusive narcissistic parents end up with ADD and procrastinating tendencies? Well, I think honestly that I don't think all of the ADD diagnoses are actually true. I think that narcissists love to pathologize their children because they need an excuse. They need to be able to point to that and go, see, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't my parenting. This kid's got ADD. It's not me. It's the ADD. It's not me. You know, and so they'll over-medicate their kid and they'll not try to work with them. And, you know, or sometimes the kid clearly has ADD or ADHD and they won't medicate them because they're just wanting a scapegoat. So, you know, it depends on what's going on, what, you know, what their reasoning is, you know, and a lot of times I think they're overdiagnosed with ADHD or ADD. I do think, though, that we get procrastinating tendencies because of the fear of being made wrong. You know, it's like, I used to be a horrible procrastinator. I would wait, and do things at the last minute. I don't do that anymore, thank God. But we wait until the last minute because we're trying to not get yelled at, and we're trying to not get in trouble. And so we put things off. So it's a way to take your power back to take care of yourself if you do have ADHD or ADD. Super important to get the correct diagnosis, get a psych eval, make sure that is the correct diagnosis, because oftentimes ADD can be mistaken for other things. So, you know, it's a really good idea to go get a diagnosis, and it's a really good idea to take good care of yourself. And as far as procrastinating is concerned, do the mirror work with yourself. Hey, it's okay to be on time. Hey, it's okay to do things in the moment. It's okay to get things, it's okay to get things done. It's okay to not procrastinate. It's okay to do things on time. You know, give yourself permission, because I think that was a coping mechanism, and it was the only thing we had power over, really, is when we did things. You know, and as a screw you to mom and dad, or screw you to whoever the abuser was, we started procrastinating because it was like, you can't make me. I'll do it when I do it, you know. So you want to get out of that self-sabotaging kind of thing, because that is a form of self-sabotage. So yeah, we procrastinate because it's the one and only thing we can control in this whole crazy household, is when we do things. So yeah, absolutely. All right. Hang on. Okay, I am unable to be comfortable in clothes that are not baggy and hiding my body. How do you change the uncomfortable feelings? I would like to wear things that are cute and girly. So that is a self-esteem thing. And that also has to do with, you know, were we sexually molested? Were we, you know, my dad sexually molested me. And for the longest time, I was like, I'm not wearing anything that would give anybody the idea that they can touch me in any way, shape, or form, you know. So we got to deal with that trauma. We got to work on that trauma. Where did this come from? Why are we doing this? Were we hyper criticized for our weight? That'll do it as well. There's a lot of body shaming that goes on with abusers. So I touched on that on Sunday's talk about, when I was a kid, oh, you're too thin, you're too thin, you're too thin. Okay, great, I'm going to start eating. So I would eat. Well, now you're too fat, So there was never a happy medium. There was never a, you're okay, right here, right now, where you are. So, it's body image. So it's a good idea to get with a really good trauma therapist and start working on the origins of that. Where did this come from? Was this because of sexual molestation? Was this because of shaming? Was this because of hypercriticalness from mom, dad, whoever? So work on that and take your power back. I would start picking out clothes that are cute, that you look good in, that you like, and wear them, and then confront that negative talk in your head. Oh, you can't wear that. You look this way, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for your input. Shut the bleep up. Why? Because I say so. I'm wearing what I want, biatch. I'm wearing what I want. Why? Because I say so. You don't get to tell me. I get to tell me. Bye-bye. And then send it off. And if you can't identify who that voice is it mom? Is it dad? Is it grandma? Who is it? Dear grandma, dear mom, dear dad, write them a letter. Write them a go pound sand letter. Dear mom, dear dad, dear grandma, whoever. Dear abuser, who shamed me, who body shamed me. Guess what? I'm going to be wearing girly clothes. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to wear whatever the hell I want. You cannot stop me. I'm not going to let the internal dialogue stop me. You have no power here. Get out of my head. You're not in my head anymore. I am evicting you. I am raising the rent. I am worth more. You are powerless here. You have no power here. Get out. And then go wear your clothes. And then confront that voice and you smack it down and replace it with the positive every single time. This is a journey. This is a journey. Start small and just do it. I hate to sound like a Nike commercial, but just do it. Seriously. And that's the best way to start confronting that stuff and to get it to take its power away. So it's kind of like when you name the devil, you take its power away. It's the same thing. I'm going to name this. This is shame. This is from mom. This is from dad. This is from grandma. This is from grandpa. This is from whoever. Guess what? Biatch. I am not playing this game anymore. I'm going to wear what I want. I'm going to look good. I'm going to wear the clothes that I've always wanted to wear. Why? Because I say so. Because I am the boss. You are not. Bye-bye. Have fun pounding sand. Bye-bye. Do you see where I'm going with that? So yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay, this is the last question. How are we doing on time? Oh yeah, good. Okay. Okay, this question, I have no idea what it is, and I'm not even going to address it. Okay, so that was it for today. All right, guys. So this week on We Need to Talk, I want to talk about isolation and why it is so deadly to people that are in abuse, but also why when we get out of abuse, it is super important to reconnect with healthy family, friends, support groups, therapists, etc., etc., and to watch out for the bad therapists because they do more damage. So, all right. So, that's it. So that's what I'll be talking about. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Take good care of yourself. Do the mirror work. You are now your own parent. So reparent yourself. Do the mirror work. Give yourself permission to wear whatever clothes you want, to love yourself, to travel, to whatever the no was. It's like, hey, I have the right to travel. I have the right to wear what I want. I have the right to, it's okay. I give you permission to love yourself. I give you permission to wear what you want. Give yourself permission and then walk out. So do that daily. Don't forget the mirror work. Drink plenty of water. Take good care of yourself. And thank you again to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez for sponsoring my show. I truly appreciate it. And I will put it down in the comments. All right, my loves, have a great week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.